Awesome. Awesome. It's 11 o'clock. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's like we have 11 a.m. start time. We have some people trickling in. We'll give everyone a few minutes just to get situated. About 2 minutes while we allow folks to trickle in. Awesome. 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 11:01. I don't know if people are going to be able to. Can people write in the chat, text in the chat right now? Is that something folks can do?
Yes, they can.
Yes, I see it. All right, all right, all right. Well, while we're waiting for people to trickle in, I see everybody testing. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. So, really quick, as we're waiting on folks to come in, I am excited to have all of you here today to the Unlock the Power of Data webinar. While because five is my favorite number, everyone, I'm just going to ask you to do this really quick. One being on the low end, five being on the high end. I want everybody to put in the chat. Again, I'm just going to give you the answer. Five is my favorite number. I want everybody to put in the chat. One being the lowest, five being the greatest. How excited are you to be here today to learn about the power of data? Okay, I see a lot of fives. I see a six in there, so that offset it that three. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love to see it. 4+1. Dan, you're a comedian. I love it. We're going to give it a few more minutes. Adam, we're going to make sure that two goes up to a five after this. All right. All right. All right. Just a few more minutes while folks are trickling in. Meredith said, where are the twos and the threes that are forced to be here? Let's be honest, huh? Let's be honest. I love it. All right, we'll get started. It's 11:03. Well, I just want to say good morning to everyone. My name is Isaiah Green, and I am excited to be here. I serve as our Central Valley Regional Advisor and Assistant Deputy Director for California Office of Small Business Advocate, CalOSBA, and I'm thrilled to be here today to host and to moderate the Unlock the Power of Data webinar, part of our Census and Economic Business Survey series. And this session is designed to help you learn more how to harness the data and maximize your business potential. I'm excited for a few different reasons today, if I'm gonna be honest. Hopefully I can be honest in this space. One, because it's Tuesday and it's one step closer to Friday. And also my Dodgers are up 3-0 in the World Series. I just thought I would throw that in there. It's a great day today. And yes, I hope each and every one of you walks away with something valuable today, some insights to help build resilience in your small business. Because we know when we uplift our small businesses, we also contribute to the well-being of our social and economic climate. So before we go, I'm excited. I'm thrilled to introduce our lineup. As you see on our panel today, we have some great speakers, some keynote speakers. I'm excited because we have some outstanding folks today. Starting with my leader and good friend, incredible advocate for small business, Director Tara Lynn Gray, who will deliver our keynote today. We're also joined by Chris Chafee of the Office of Community Partnerships and Communications, Mac Treese, and Meredith Maxwell from the U.S. Census Bureau. And so excited. So before we go, a few housekeeping rules. This will be recorded. This webinar will be recorded and available on our YouTube channel after the event. We will have some resource links that will be shared in the chat. And so again, please be looking for those links during the chat that will be easily accessible. And there will be a Q&A session towards the end. So please, if you have questions, which we hope you do, we want to be able to answer any questions you have. We're asking that during the time that you wait for the end, to have some Q&A with us. And if you feel like you have just a pressing question, I think Mac and Meredith will be able to answer some while they're presenting. And then also our presentation slides will be available at the end or the next few days. We'll make sure that everyone on this call has access to these slides. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my leader, director, dynamic director, Tara Lynn Gray. So, as director of California Office of Small Business Advocates, Tara Lynn Gray serves as the voice of California's 4.2 million small businesses in the governor's office of business and economic development. And under Director Gray's leadership, California Office of Small Business Advocate focuses on helping to bring about the governor's vision through further development of the state's small business ecosystem by ensuring that questions about equity and inclusion are the starting point for all state small business programs. Director Tara Lynn Gray, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Isaiah. Hello, and thank you all for joining us here today. As you just heard, I am Tara Lynn Gray, Director of California's Office of the Small Business Advocate, which is located within the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. I want to express a very big thank you to our guests today from U.S. Census and the Office of Community Partnerships and Strategic Communications. It's so important, I had to repeat what Isaiah said. We have Meredith, Mac, and Chris, and I gotta be honest, I have always been a tad bit geeky, and so I am super excited about today's topic. I'm gonna run through a couple of things real quick. We are here today to talk about unlocking the power of data. We're going to explore census tools for small business success. And all of that was in the title. So if you signed up because you are interested in how to turn data into revenue and resiliency, then I want to let you know you are in the right place. Next slide. As I take my role as advocate very seriously, I think back over my career. I've been an entrepreneur, a business coach throughout my career, and I really know firsthand some of the challenges we as small business owners face. And it's my responsibility to effectively produce and share programs that will make it easier and more equitable for business owners in every zip code in the state to create wealth for themselves, for their families, and for their communities. Next slide, Shruti. The mission of our office is to support California's dreamers to start, to scale, and succeed as small business owners, as employers, and as you heard Isaiah say, as drivers of our economy. So, how do we do that? We fund and oversee a network of small business support centers. We increase the pipeline of loans to our smallest and most vulnerable small businesses. We advance the resiliency of our small businesses through disaster awareness and preparation. And we administer the governor's direct grant reliefs supporting small businesses. And as you heard, we support the over 4 million small business owners within the governor's office. We like to say that we are a big voice for small business. So, to that end, another thing we do is to collect data. We collect data about services to you, our small businesses. We use data every day to determine how effective we are and what we can do better. We use data to gain insights on who we are, possibly missing, and what we need to do more of, and where we need to do it. So we want to make sure that the state's resources yield the greatest impact. And data is something that can help us do that. So let's talk about a few data points, shall we? First of all, California small business owners on this call, like you listening to the recording, even you make up the largest small business community in the country. 99% of all businesses in California are small businesses. And these employers are responsible for 2/3 of all net new jobs in the fifth largest economy in the world. So it is clear that initiatives to support small businesses are initiatives that indeed support us. Next slide, Shruti. This is a fun fact slide, and I will just point out that California has the most manufacturing businesses and jobs of any state. People are always surprised about that. We're known as the Sunshine State, I think. We're taking that over from somebody else. And people are surprised that amidst all of the beauty in California, we have lots of manufacturing. We also have the lowest first year failure rate of any state. Nearly half of our small businesses are owned and operated by people of color. But the truth is that these businesses, they don't hire, don't earn at the same rate as their white owned counterparts. We know that in every county, there are zip codes, business groups, and certain communities that struggle to find an equal playing field. But this is always why we say at OSBA that diverse owned small businesses represent California's biggest opportunity for scaling and growing and giving back. Above all, our interest is in building that space where everyone can compete. And just imagine knowing that we have so many people who are underserved and yet still thriving. Imagine what happens when we give them a helping hand. Next slide, Trudy. I know I'm zooming through these slides really quick because I want to keep it brief. We've got lots to get to, but there's some very interesting information for you to look at when you get the copy of this presentation. I want to call attention to the link here and this study because it demonstrates how we collect and use data to meet our mission. We're here to talk about data today, so here's where I encourage you to download our full report. You can use the QR code. This is the first such study released by the state of California, and share it with your local business and government leaders. There's a regional breakdown in this report. And if you missed the QR code, then you can look back at our website under Connect with CalOSBA, click on the small business news, and you can get access to that report. Now let's focus on how we can help you achieve your goals. If you're new to CalOSBA and our services, allow me to briefly explain that we use the money that we receive from the general fund and also the US Treasury to curate an expansive network of support for entrepreneurs. We do this to serve the diverse needs of entrepreneurs in the most populated state in this country. Our partners provide everything from business plan assistance to accessing capital in order to scale your business. And in fact, we think scaling is such a significant opportunity that we have branded this support as our Scale Network, which stands for Success, Capital Access, and Leadership for Entrepreneurs. And all of this comes at no cost to you but your time. Your tax dollars have already paid for the help that you need. And my job is mostly to make you realize that you should not do this without support. You need help, and we're here to give it to you. So you shouldn't expect yourself to know it all, be it all, and do it all. And that's why our parting advice is always don't go it alone. Go to calosba.ca.gov today. Scale is up and running with partners across the state. You can find those partners on our website under the Get Help for Your Business. We are happy to announce that we are also entering a new phase with that network, a new evolution of these services. We recently announced our procurement and innovation capital leadership for entrepreneurs program called Pinnacle, which will allow us to target services to businesses that are looking for what we are calling mature capital. And we are specifically aiming to address two major market opportunities in California that we feel we are uniquely positioned to take advantage of. The first is state procurement contracts, most especially for the infrastructure construction in which the governor has made a historic investment. And second is high growth, high wage innovation sectors where California leads the nation. One aspect of the program will target businesses competing for state contracts and assist them in obtaining the bonding, insurance, and loan capital needed to secure contracts with local, state, and federal jurisdictions, as well as private entities. The funding will also help us better address the disparities and the gaps in the venture capital dollars spent on diverse founders in high growth, high wage innovation sectors by strengthening existing pathways and creating some new ones. We expect that we are going to, with this funding, be able to help an additional 5,000 business owners with one-on-one counseling and training. And we are hoping to do 200 training events, much like this one here. And the big deal is that we're hoping that we can infuse $250 million in total capital through a combination of non-dilutive capital, bonding capital, debt capital, as well as angel and venture capital. So I can hear the businesses screaming now, especially those in tech. Non-dilutive capital is the holy grail, and we know it. So we're trying to get you there. It's no secret that part of California's secret sauce is obviously our capacity for innovation, our intellectual property, patents, and economic success. All of those contribute to our leadership globally when it comes to the economy. And the governor has given us tremendous support and it has been behind accelerating the growth and the diversification of that innovation economy. Last big thing I'm going to say along the lines of that non-dilutive capital, we have in our Accelerate California program, innovation grants. We are calling them acceleration grants. And the businesses that go through our accelerators, and we have 13 inclusive innovation hubs across the state. Businesses that go through that are eligible to compete for up to $100,000 in acceleration grants. Each hub has $500,000 each year to award to those businesses that successfully matriculate through their system. So here we are. We enjoy an abundance of sunshine and scenic views. But we know that all of that comes with the threat of business disruptions from natural disasters and other hazards. The list is long, right? Earthquakes, wildfires, floods, droughts, and heck, even volcanoes now. So we can't forget pandemics, power outages, and cybersecurity threats. So we know that there's a lot out there facing our businesses, and we've invested in a program called Outsmart Disaster, which is an initiative to help small business owners and their families and communities prepare for the next disruption. It's not really if, it's when. And through this program, we provide tools, resources, and training designed to help you create a tailored resiliency plan for your business. So, no matter the type of business you run, we want you to be prepared. So, we encourage you to participate in our Outsmart Disaster webinars. Shruti Narayan is one of our team members there. And thank you, Shruti, for all that you've done to put today's event together. Having your data ready and protected is one of those things that we want you to pay attention to as you prepare for disaster. We also offer a workbook, both in print and digital formats, that will walk you through developing your own resilience plan step by step. So I'm going to close now. I encourage you to explore the programs that we offer, the educational information that we provide. So, whether you are looking for training, capital, advice, resources, we have a team of folks led by Isaiah Green, our regional economic development team. We have a help desk that you can submit questions and seek advice if you've got an issue and you need some research. Please, by all means, know and understand that you are supported every step of the way. And you can find all of these resources along with updates and tips by going to our website, which is calosba.ca.gov. Be sure to join our newsletter so that you can be abreast of all things that are coming down the pipe from this office. Be sure to follow us on social media. We are on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I think we're on every platform out there. So that does it for my remarks. Thank you so much for your time and attention. And let's do some data.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Director Gray, we want to say thank you. Thank you for your time this morning. And thank you for being the loud, bold voice for our small businesses. We want to make sure that everyone that is on this call today and or who is going to be listening in the future via YouTube, we want you to take advantage of our scale program. We want you all to scale. We want you all to be successful. We want you all to have access to capital. We want you all to be leaders and entrepreneurs in your communities. And so, Director Gray, thank you so much for that. As we move forward, I want to introduce Chris Chafee. And forgive me if I'm saying that wrong, Chris.
No, it's
Um, but
perfect.
but Chris is the Deputy Director of Campaign Services at the Office of Community Partnerships and Strategic Communications. Chris, thank you for being here today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, and thank you for those inspiring words, Director Gray. I think it moved my 6 to a 7, so we're off to a great start. We can go to the next slide. So I'm here just because I'm a deputy director, and my title is campaign services, but I'm really just the data guy. And I love data because I think it helps us tell stories and understand the context of the people we serve. Um, and our office was developed after the successes of the 2020 census in California and the Vaccinate All 58 campaigns. And we're really focused on providing education and outreach in the state's highest priority public awareness and community engagement efforts. But the thing that gets me out of the bed every morning and makes me love what I do is that we're focused on closing the equity gaps and the disparities throughout the zip codes of California. And one of the first pillar of our office is that we need to make data informed decisions. And that sounds kind of boring, and maybe you don't like statistics, you don't like demographics. That's fine. But I think for us, it's really about how do we invest well your tax dollars in our programs to really close those equity gaps. And the first way we do that is to understand the communities and the zip codes of California and to dive into the data that's there that can show us where the disparities are, where the poverty lies, where we can make a true difference by the programs and the services that we offer. And we wouldn't we wouldn't get past go without the data that's available at the census. The census office offers so many data elements. It's kind of insane from my perspective because there's so much there. But I think where our office starts, is how do we get the communication, the outreach to the communities that most need it. We do that by looking at vulnerability, the vulnerability index that the census offers that shows where the disparities lie. But the second way we do it, and the thing that is kind of elemental and fundamental to our cause, is we have to provide that information in languages that are being spoken in California. Because without a language access, people aren't gonna they don't care about, if they don't speak English, they don't care about an English email or an English communication on radio or on a flyer. So for us, after we understand where the poverty and the most vulnerable communities where they exist, then we have to look at the limited English proficiency data to help our CBOs and our partners understand what the languages spoken in an area are, what type of dialects and languages are spoken in those locations, so that we can have that conversation. Because we're in the game of changing behavior and making people aware of public public policy issues like extreme heat, like climate change, like saving water, like getting vaccinated, finding access to behavioral health needs. So if we can't speak the language of the residents we're seeking to serve, we don't get past go. We can't make them aware. We can't educate them in any way. And so I think that's just our story of how data is used. And I think from Mac and Meredith's presentation today, by going to the census website, by thinking about how you start your day, how you figure out the audience you want to sell to, you want the business that you want to create. There is a data set that the census offers that can help you start to figure out how where to begin and come back to as you want to expand and look at other areas of the state or other states that you want to expand to. So I'm just really excited to be part of this panel, to have heard Director Gray and Mr. Green's introduction, because I think this is a fantastic webinar series. And I hope you will get a nugget that will help you start, expand, continue your great small business, because you are the economy of California and we need you guys to thrive. So with that, I'd love to pass it back to Mr. Green or Mac and Meredith.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Chris. And we are so grateful for you being here today and being part of this ecosystem of uplifting our communities. Again, Director Gray said, if you want to go alone, if you want to go fast, you got to go alone. But if you want to go farther, you have to go together. And so grateful for you being here in this space. And as I move forward, Chris, I want to introduce Mac Treese and Meredith Maxwell from the U.S. Census Bureau. And really quick, Mac and Meredith are both data dissemination specialists from the U.S. Census Bureau. As part of data dissemination and training branch, they provide data training to individuals and or various organizations who seek to improve their data literacy and data mining skills. And so that would be me. But Meredith provides services to the areas of San Bernardino, Riverside, and Imperial counties, as well as the state of Nevada, while MAC focuses on training and outreach to Northern California counties. Mac, Meredith, thank you so much for being here. Excited to learn from you both, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Isaiah, and thank you so much to everyone. Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Gray, Shruti, and team for inviting us to conduct today's Your Business by the Numbers. It's really a one-on-one webinar on census economic and business surveys. So it's really an honor for us to collaborate and deliver this training to CalOSBA. I'm Mac Treese, and I am a data dissemination specialist at the Census Bureau. I'm also joined by my colleague, Meredith Maxwell. Before we begin, we do want to let everyone know that we welcome your questions during this webinar. So feel free to write in your questions on the chat box or in the Q&A box, and we will go through them during the Q&A portion and during our presentation, as well as we can field and answer those questions. So we do have a lot to unpack. Our role really is to make sense of all of the data that we have available for you. As mentioned, there is a lot to go through, and that's really our role, is to help you access those types of data sets. And it's very easy. We have the various tools for you, and it's all for free. So a copy of this presentation as well will be made available within the next 24 to 48 hours. But since we have a lot of data sets to show you, we will be going off camera so that we will be saving some of the bandwidth, and there wouldn't be any delays in our presentation. So let me just go ahead and do that and get the ball rolling. So for today's session, our objective is really to help you, as I mentioned, learn foundational information on how to access and utilize the variety of Census Bureau business products, tools, and resources that we have. We will begin with a broad overview of the Bureau's economic programs and surveys, which are very rich sources of data on industry, your community, and your businesses. In fact, government agencies, analysts, and various organizations nationwide rely on census information for planning purposes and for completing key economic reports. Then we will demonstrate a couple of tools, including the Census Survey Explorer and the Census Business Builder, or CBB as we call it, which may assist in your market research, the development of business plans, and your business decision process. And as mentioned, we will be sharing several resources towards the end and also go through our Q&A portion. Now, just to give you a background on the Census Bureau, if you're not familiar with us, our mission really is to serve as the nation's leading provider of quality data about population and the economy. Now, there are about 13 principal statistical agencies or units in the federal government, and the Census Bureau is the largest. The Bureau actually conducts more than 130 censuses and surveys each year. Can you imagine that? 130, right? Including the decennial census. Did you know that the census has actually been taken every 10 years since 1790, as required by the Constitution? Thomas Jefferson directed the first census, and by 1840, the Census Act authorized the establishment of a centralized census office. So we do have a very rich history dating back since 1790. We also conduct the American Community Survey, which is an annual survey that goes beyond population and housing count. It provides you with social, economic, housing, and demographic characteristics You will hear a lot more about these 4 keywords. Remember that: social, economic, housing, and demographic characteristics, as we move on with some of the data sets that we have. Through the American Community Survey, or what we call the ACS, we know more about jobs and occupations, educational attainment, veterans, whether people own or rent their home, and other such topics. We also conduct the economic census, which measures the nation's economy every 5 years, in the years ending 5 and 7. It provides you with vital statistics for virtually every industry and geographic area in the country. In fact, the first look statistics were released in January 2024, which covers industries between the 2 to 3 digit NAICS code, or North American Industry Classification System, which is available at the national level, and with the 7 to 8 digit NAICS code for select industries coming out by this December 2024. So you would have much more richer data by end of this year. You should be able to access a full list of our surveys and programs on our census.gov site, and our presentation would have some links. If you hover within each of the hyperlinks, you should be able to go directly to that particular resource. Now, we do recognize, the Bureau recognizes the importance of small businesses, and as reinforced by Dr. Gray earlier, it does provide, we provide statistics for small businesses in various levels of geography. I wanted to share this recently published American Count Stories, which focuses on small businesses in time for Small Business Week, which happened earlier this year. Small businesses are often hailed as the vital segment of our national and local economies. And as Dr. Gray mentioned, it's primary driver of US financial growth. In fact, every year since 1963, US presidents have issued a Small Business Week proclamation to recognize the contributions of entrepreneurs and small business owners. But what compromises a small business? According to the Small Business Administration, or SBA, a small business is an independent business having fewer than 500 employees. Now, we do have the Census Bureau Business Dynamics Statistics, or what we call BDS, and it actually indicates that there were more than 5.3 million such firms in 2021. This is on a national scale, up from 5.3 million from 2020. That is a big growth. We know the US economy is comprised of millions of establishments with paid employees, and the population of these businesses is constantly changing. Some businesses grow, others decline, and yet others close. The BDS, or the Business Dynamic Statistics, actually tracks these changes over time, providing you with annual measures of establishment openings and closings, including firms, startups, and shutdowns. And these measures are actually available for the entire economy by industry sector, between the 3 to 4 digit NAICS code at the state, county, and metro areas. Here's a closer look at California. I'm sharing you a couple of statistics that we have for California. And this is again based on the 2021 Business Dynamic Statistics. We see almost 90% have firms with between 1 to 19 employees, as you can see here, followed by those firms with 20 to 499 employees at almost 11%, and almost 1% for firms with 500 employees. Obviously, the small businesses takes a large chunk of all types of businesses in California. Note that the census defines firm and establishment, and establishment are actually used in the tabulation of BDS statistics. The Bureau defines an establishment as a fixed physical location where economic activity occurs. So a firm may actually have one establishment or a single unit establishment, or many establishments, or a multi-unit firm. So it could be one, or it could be a multiple under that establishment, right? Multiple firms under one establishment. Now let's look at the firm size for men and minority-owned firms. Using the annual business survey, or what we call ABS, this provides you information on economic and demographic characteristics of businesses and business owners. We did see that majority of women-owned firms have between 1 to 4 employees with more than 92,000. So this actually comprises here, if you will see here, it comprises the majority of businesses for women-owned businesses, with those that have between 1 to 4 employees, followed by those having 5 to 19 employees with more than 42,000, and those with fewer than 249 at more than 11,000. And lastly, those without employees at more than 30,000. Now you do see that we do have a reflection of those with no employees here, because actually the annual business survey is made up of those that are employer firms, but we do still reflect those that have no employees, because at some point in time they did have some employees or paid employees. Now, in terms of the minority-owned, we did see almost the same distribution in terms of the number of employees, percentages. So we have those that are between 1 to 4 employees, having the biggest chunk of firms with more than 143,000. And then we have 5 to 19 employees, followed by 5 to 19 employees at more than 49,000. And then again, followed by those between 20 to 249 employees, and so on and so forth. These are just some of the data sets that we can explore and generate from the Bureau's data sets to help you understand the business landscape within your own community or selected geography. And Meredith will be taking you through a fantastic tool that would generate this information together with your community demographics. Now, we also wanted you to understand what comprises the Bureau's economic programs. And this pyramid is really one of a good representation, as it gives you an idea between the relationship between the timelines and details of how we churn out data. So as you can see at the top of the pyramid, these are what we call high frequency programs, where data is actually released on a bi-weekly basis. However, it does contain less details and is available in comparison to programs on the lower levels in the pyramid. So for example, we have a business trends and outlook survey, or the BTOS, which produces information such as opening or closing businesses, and it is produced on a bi-weekly basis. However, it only comes out on the national level. Now, sliding down to our monthly and quarterly surveys, there are approximately 17 surveys that provide key economic indicators, which are essential in tracking and reporting the GDP, or the gross domestic product. For example, retail and monthly wholesale trade survey, or the national building permit surveys. Those come out, as mentioned, on a monthly or quarterly survey on the national, state, county and city levels. So the lower you go down the pyramid, the more details that you get. Again, for high frequency, it is more frequent, but then you get it on a national level. But as we move down, you get more details, and we get more details on a regional or county or city level in terms of survey. Now, moving down another step to the annual surveys. These are the surveys that provide data for nearly every sector of the economy. Data from these programs are useful for analyzing trends. So if you're really looking for those, this would be the best type of surveys you should look into. For example, we have the county business patterns, which provides subnational data by industry and employment size. Again, that comes out annually on the national, state, county, and even on a zip code tabulation area, or what we call ZICTA areas. Then we have the economic census. And I mentioned this earlier, it happens every 5 years in the years ending 2 and 7. It is our most comprehensive data source for business data. It is a mandatory survey, and it covers 19 economic sectors that encompasses 950 NAICS industries and spans over 21,000 geographic areas. So it is, as again mentioned, it's the most comprehensive source for business data. Note that most companies do not receive the economic census and only collects data from businesses with employees. Out of 13 million businesses in the nation, about 8 million of those have employees. Now, out of the 8 million, about 4 million businesses receives an invitation to respond. Finally, at the base of the pyramid, we have administered data that really serves as the foundation of all of our statistics. Next, we'll talk more about two particular surveys that we felt was really very important and crucial for you to get information on businesses. One of them is the annual business survey, and the other one is the non-employer statistics. So what is the annual business survey, or ABS as we call it? This program provides you with information on selected economic and demographic characteristics for businesses and business owners. Again, that's businesses and business owners with paid employees and receipts of $1,000 or more. You should be able to get information on this type of businesses and business owners by sex, ethnicity, race, and veteran status. It also includes statistics on the number of firms, employment, annual payroll, sales, shipments, sales receipts, or revenue for nearly every 2 to 4 digit NAICS code industry. So as you can see here on the right side, this is the type of data that you will get from the ABS. It does give you a breakdown of those that are minority owned, or by race, Hispanic, or by sex, which is women owned or male owned. And it does break it down by number of employees. Historically, the survey of business owners, if you used to use that, or the SBO provides this type of data. However, in 2017, the ABS actually replaced the SBO. The ABS is actually sourced from a combination of response to the survey. So it is an actual survey, and data from the economic census and administrative records. So there's approximately 300,000 employer businesses that are randomly selected. And during economic census years, again, those are the years of 2 and 7, that number actually goes up to 850,000 employer businesses. So as you can see here, the publication level for the annual business survey provides you information for the 2-digit NAICS industry code for those years that do not end in 2 and 7. And then for those years of ending 2 and 7, you get 2 to 6-digit NAICS code. This is very important, since if you're looking for that type of information that goes down to this level, you have to look into those that are released for the years ending in 2 and 7. So what about businesses that do not have employees? We have the non-employer statistics by demographic series, or what we call NESD. And similar to the ABS, the NESD was developed to produce statistics or estimates on owner demographics for non-employer businesses. Again, these are businesses that have no paid employees and have an annual business receipt of $1,000 or more. So you can think of these businesses are generally as like real estate agents or independent contractors. It's important to note that the NESD is a bit different, as it is not an actual survey. Rather, it leverages on existing individual level administrative records to assign demographic characteristics to the universe of the non-employer businesses. So you should also be able to get demographic characteristics such as age, sex, ethnicity, race, veteran status, and so on and so forth. It also provides you with information on the number of firms, the receipts, similar to the ABS. So as you can see here on the right side, it does give you an information on a national scale for this particular visualization on the number of firms that we have for both the breakdown of employer and non-employer firms together with the total. Similar to the ABS, this is also published annually with the latest data that came out in October of this year for the calendar year of 2021. So it is a bit behind the annual business survey. So the current business survey has come out and it's based on the 2022 year. The NES is actually based on the 2021 result. Again, similar to the ABS, you can get information on the 2-digit NAICS code for those that are in the non-economic census years. And if you are looking again for more details for those that are between the 2 to 6-digit NAICS code, those should be within the years ending 2 and 7. So it's also released on a national, you can get it by state, metropolitan, micropolitan statistical area, or what we call MSAs. These are basically defined, or this geography is basically defined as those that include one or more county within that have at least 50,000 people, or an urbanized area of at least 100,000. There are several ways for you to access both the ABS and the NES datasets. And here are just a couple of tools that I have for you as an example. So we have data.census.gov, which is our most robust platform to access data from the Bureau. If you were using the American Fact Finder before, that was decommissioned in 2020. Most of the data sets have migrated actually to data.census.gov. Then you can also utilize Census Business Builder, which Meredith will be taking you through. It does provide you with easy access to information about potential customers and similar businesses that might be helpful for those who are starting businesses or formulating a business plan. Then we also have Quick Facts, which provides you with our most frequently requested statistics on the state, county, and city level, including those in the zip code tabulation or ZICTA level. Additionally, I did find that the ABS or NESD table list, which you see right here, this can be accessed to our site, and I have here the actual hyperlink, and that should be dropped into your chat as well. You should be able to go into each of the groups because they're already grouped according to topics. For instance, if you go into the company summary tables right here, if you click on that, it should provide you with data collection series about the company as broken down here. It should be able to give you those by industry, again, by the 2 to 6 digit NAICS code. You should be able to find it by sex, ethnicity, race, and veteran status, by years in business, by receipts of the firm, employment size, firm, and even classified by urban and rural classification of the firm or the type of firm. So each of these groupings will have a breakdown like this. Again, I would encourage you to look into each. It might be of interest to you if you're looking for a specific type of data. I know that is a lot, and it might seem like, it's hard to digest. If you're not really sure of which survey or data that you need, here's one particular tool that might be helpful to know and where to begin. I would recommend that you use the Census Survey Explorer. No matter what your experience level is, it will help you. It's a very helpful tool to help you discover which survey may have the information you need. You can use either the drop-down list, and I'll take you there very quickly after this. And you should be able to filter it by geography, frequency, by topic, or by subtopics, or even search by keyword. So let me just quickly take you through and show you how to get there through our site. If you go to our site through census.gov, I would recommend opening, if you're following along, you can open up your own web browser. We do have Chrome as actually the preferred browser, but you can always utilize Firefox or Edge. This is our landing page. There's a lot of information here. You should be able to have access to some of the quick links that we have, message from our director. If you need help with the survey, you should be able to go into each of these topics here. And if you're interested on economic indicators, we have very quick links within our landing page as well. But in order to find our tools, we have labels on top of our site here. We have several. We have topics where you can view all the topics if you wanted to. However, the tools and apps are located within this tab, which is called Data and Maps. And right here, in the fourth item is Data Tools and Apps. If you actually click on this, you should be able to go directly to a list of all the tools that we offer. It's all listed alphabetically, and there are 2 pages. However, I've already pre-opened it in the interest of time. I want to give Meredith all the time that he can get. So this is the landing page for our Census Survey Explorer. As mentioned, you should be able to filter by geography. There's a list of the different geographies that we offer. So if you're looking for a specific survey that only goes on the county level, all you need to do is click on that, and the survey should actually pop up. So for instance, here, let me close this particular box by clicking on the X. As you can see already, you filtered it by county, and these are the different surveys that offers you the different surveys by county. It will give you an information on the frequency, the geography it covers, as well as the topics and subtopics. But you can also search, and let me refresh by just clicking on the home button. That just clears up your search and the geography that you initially established. And if you wanted to search by keywords, so we've already gone through some of the data sets that are specific to businesses and business owners by demographics, right? But if you're looking for maybe demographics specific to the consumer that you wanted to target. And maybe you're interested in income. All you need to do is to type in the keyword income, and the survey specific or related to your query would pop up. So here you can see it immediately gives you the surveys related to income. We have the American Community Survey, the American Housing Survey, and various other surveys. As you can see, the topics it does cover. If you click on the information on the more under subtopics, you should be able to find out more about that particular survey. So here, for instance, let me go into the American Community Survey. It provides you with a description of the ACS. It's one of our most popular surveys outside of the decennial census. It is, I mentioned, I believe, an ongoing survey, and it sends out the samples to approximately 3.5 million addresses each year. Or if you will think about it, it's about 290,000 samples or addresses each month. It covers more than 40 plus topics, covering demographic, economic, and social and housing characteristics of the community. Under those categories, you will find the subtopics here. So if you're looking for the, by race, sex, marital status, so on and so forth, if you're looking for information on those that have computer and internet, this would be a great source of information. And Meredith will take you through a bit more details once he gets into CBB or the Census Business Builder. Really very useful if you try to analyze the community of the businesses that you serve. So this is just one example of how you can utilize Census Survey Explorer, especially if you're just beginning and don't know where to start. Again, this would be a good way for you to start learning about the various surveys that we offer. At this point, I'll turn over to Meredith as he takes you through the next tool that we have.
Thank you so much for the pass, Mac. I just want to make sure that everybody can see my screen before I move forward. Okay, so now we're going to move into accessing data via one of our visualization tools. I'm sorry, one of our data tools. If you'd like to follow along, Mac kind of already talked about it. We're going to be going to census.gov. I typically use Chrome, but please feel free to use whatever web browser works best for you. I know some organizations may have issues with Firefox or so forth, but whatever works, whatever's going to go smoothly for you. Now, before I actually get into the demo, I just want to advise we had a really healthy Q&A chat, and I can tell by the Q&A that there was a varied level of experience, and that's okay. As data dissemination specialists, we want to make sure that you understand we're here for you. This will be a high-level presentation, and some of you have very specific industry questions, and we want to make sure that we give those questions the proper time and respect. So our contact information will be provided after, because even though we are the resident experts on some of these, we still have to do our research on our end. So in addition to giving you the proper time and respect, we want to make sure that we're armed with the appropriate details to adequately answer your questions. So again, our details will be provided at the end of this demonstration. Okay, so as Mac mentioned, we're going to talk about the Census Business Builder. And we live by acronyms here, so we're just going to call this for short, as Mac already stated as well, CBB. Now, CBB is a feature-rich data exploration application that will enable you to dynamically reference census data relevant to your region or small business. And what you're looking at here is basically the interface. Some of you may have played with CBB before. It used to be in two parts. They recently combined it for business and non-business entities to access the same level of data. Some of the key features, it's easy to use menus and search tools to select the location you'd like to research. and nearly all types of businesses. It also provides interactive maps where you can browse and download data about the selected area and type of business. So what you select, what you type in is ideally what the map is going to show. You also have an easily customizable dashboard that includes a time series, a geographic comparison, and geographic ranking charts. You'll have interactive and downloadable reports, again, including charts that can be easily incorporated into your research. And you can also, it's also optimized for your smartphone or tablet. Granted, it'd be a ton of information on your smartphone, maybe better suited for the tablet, but either way, you can utilize CBB for a smaller platform. Okay, now just quickly about some of the geographies that are covered. We actually have some geography questions in the Q&A. So the demographic and consumer spending data are shown at the state, county, and town, or city and town, which at the Census Bureau, we actually refer to as place level. We also can get that at the zip code and census tract levels. Now, economic and workforce data are shown at the state, county, city, and town places as well. Trade data are shown only at the state level. So users can browse data for every county at the within the US, excuse me. We also have what are called HUD opportunity zones. Now, the opportunity zones are economically distressed communities defined by individual census tracts, nominated by America's governors and certified by the US Secretary of the Treasury via his delegation of that authority of the IRS. So under certain conditions, new investments and opportunity zones may be eligible for preferential tax treatment, so forth and so on. I believe there are almost 9,000. I think it's 8,764 opportunity zones in the US, many of which have experienced a lack of investment for decades. So the Opportunity Zone Initiative is not a top-down government program from Washington, but an incentive to spur private and public investment in America's underserved communities. So that's just a little bit about the geographies and what we have. Again, this is high level, so we won't get into too much detail about the opportunity zones, but I just, for those of you who are on this call who that may be of interest to, just wanted to let you know that they're there. And again, we're here afterwards, or our data will be presented afterwards for you to reach out to us should you have additional questions. Now, in the interest of time, forgive me for going quickly, but I want to make sure we at least get through one demo, but I wanted to show you the interface. So when we get to it, you understand what you're looking at. So where the one just popped up here on the screen, I'll show you here. This is how you enter in your geographic level. So you can view data on the map by type of geography. You can also zoom into the selected geography out of geographic levels. Next, we have where you can actually input your industry clusters. So you can create industry clusters by selecting industry categories of NAICS codes. We also have bivariate mapping. 3, you can view 2 variables on the map in the dashboard at the same time. Those would be your primary variables. And in addition to your primary variables, you also have filters, where you can use filters to narrow down data by choosing up to 5 variables. And you can see here, variable 1, variable 2, and then you have your opportunities for your stats. You also have the aforementioned geo ranking, the time series, and the geo comparisons. All right, 5. As I just pointed to, this is what's called our region view. And you can build a region with 2 or more geographies. So let's say you got your plan together and you just are looking at the detailed view and the data is just not suiting your needs. You can actually customize your own region to add more data to your current search. You can also use pre-built regions featured in SBA hub zones, the National Weather Service and weather forecast offices as well. Number 6, we have our map buttons where you can download data to CSV, Excel, or shapefiles. You can also add reference layers, change the base map from topographic to imagery or to dark, whatever your preference. And for number 7, This is where you can customize your dashboard to show height, time charts, and other variables. You can also create reports for selected geographic areas. And then finally, number 8, all the way down here on the right, for those of you who are following along. This is just simply where you can configure your map. So you can change the map color schemes, you can change the map classing methods as well. Okay, so that's it in a nutshell. Again, I apologize if I'm moving quickly. I just want to make sure we can get to this demo. All right, so Mac already showed you our United States Census Bureau homepage. I know when you initially look at it, it can read like a labyrinth, but I assure you, once you navigate the page a few times, it's pretty easy. We're just going to follow Mac's course here. We're going to go to Data and Maps, and then we're going to go down to Data Tools and Apps. And as you can see, we have 2 pages of apps and data tools. So 60 plus tools to choose from. I happen to know just from experience that Census Business Builder is on the first page, in alphabetical order. So we'll just go ahead and scroll down. Watch your eyes. And voila, Census Business Builder. So you can either select this hyperlink here, or you can select it from this blue arrow here. And once it opens up, it gives you the version, key features. We'll go ahead and hit Census Business Builder. You can always type it in as well for your internet search. All right, so you can either search for your location to start, or you can take your tour. Go ahead and X out of it. I'm going to go back to the presentation quickly. Okay, so at the end of the demo here, I'm going to actually show you how you can visit this business summary to give you all the details from your curated search. Now, all right, so we put together a scenario for you. Again, you can curate your own scenario based on your own business needs. So for our first demonstration, we have a daycare center in Riverside County. So here's our scenario. Entrepreneur is looking to open a daycare center in Riverside County, and they're targeting working parents who need affordable, accessible childcare. They want to explore areas with high numbers of households with young children, dual income families, and areas with limited existing daycare services. So how the Census Business Builder is going to help us here, we're going to analyze demographic data, such as the number of children under age 5, household income levels, and the employment rate for working parents. And we're also going to explore the number of existing daycare facilities within the county. All right, so moving back to our presentation, to Census Business Builder. All right, so for this particular example, we're going to go ahead and start with the custom industries. You can select custom industries here, and we're actually going to search by NAICS code. So we're going to type in daycare. Childcare might actually come up better. Actually, I'm going to type in. Let it load. Oh, sorry. There we go. Okay, so sometimes when you type in too much, it'll remove your search because the more you type, the more specific your search will become. So you can see that we have the NAICS code here, and we're actually going to look for NAICS code 624410. So if you were to use this one, it'll bring up every single item underneath childcare services, but we want to be a little bit more specific. So you can see here we have 62441, and we're just going to keep scrolling down. Let's see. Of course, it wants me to. We'll just use this one here, 62441, minus the 0. It'll still get us there, I promise. Okay, so once we have that, hit enter, go ahead and X out of here. It should populate. Sometimes you have to give it a second. Didn't take it. I apologize. This was having a little bit of complications earlier. Come on. There we go. And once it populates, it should show here in the blue. And all we have to do is just X out. Okay. And now once we have our custom industry, now we just need to input our location. So we're going to type in Riverside and it should start to load. And it'll give you all the potential options under Riverside. And of course, we're looking for Riverside County. And you'll see your map will start to load data. It starts to input its default information. Sorry, it's taking a bit. Come on. There we go. All right, so the default is establishments. Okay, you can see here, based on this particular search, there's 59 establishments. All right, but we also want to enter a second variable. Okay. So all you have to do is select it there, and it'll pop up your two options. So the primary variable is already selected, which is establishments. And then now we're on our second variable. Now for our second variable, sorry, 1 second. My apologies, guys. This is moving really slow for me. Okay, so for our second variable, we're going to look at percent under 5. And this will be under demographic characteristics. So you can see here, we have our primary categories, we have our second categories, and we're here under demographic characteristics. And we're going to type in percent under 5, or sorry, select percent under 5. And you can see here that it will actually begin to populate here. Okay, so now we're starting to build our base. And you can see that behind here, the map is actually starting to present data. So you can see here, we have 59 establishments under that particular NAICS code, and the percent under 5 is 6%. But we're not done yet. We want to continue to build out our stats here. So our median household income, okay, is here. We're going to actually adjust those stats. So we'll keep median household income. Now we're going to add percent employed. Okay. So to do that, all you have to do is select it, hit the edit or change variable. And I happen to know that percent employed, we're still under consumer and residence. We're still under socioeconomic characteristics. And we're going to select percent employed. And you can see that that population statistic, or that statistic rather, starts to adjust. All right. And then we want to continue to filter the next two. Now we're going to look at how much do people spend per household for child care education in this particular geography. So we're going to change this variable here. Now we're going to get out of, it defaults to whatever characteristic is here. It's under business, but we're going to go over to consumer spending. And you can see all of your options here: alcoholic beverages, apparel and services, expenditures on household, on education, which you can also do if you didn't want to do childcare. But I do know that we do have the consumer expenditures per household on childcare. So we'll select that one. And I believe we have one more that we're going to populate. And we just want to know what the home ownership rate is, which is actually already here. So you can see that these two, the median household income, home ownership rate, are default, so they populate. So now we have our data, right? And easily, if you wanted to change these variables, all you have to do is select this star, and it will actually make it, you can see, make it a variable. It'll replace these particular data sets, okay? So now that we're here, I know I'm running out of time. And again, I apologize if I'm moving too quickly. I just want to show you these geo rankings. So we have the geo rankings. You can see the next geographic areas for comparison. You have Riverside, Los Angeles County. It gives you data basically on each one of those counties. We also have a time series, so you can see how these geographies have adjusted by quarter. And then you can geo comparison, where we look at the county versus the state versus the nation for these particular data sets here. Okay. So, and again, your map should always correspond with these top two variables. Okay. Now let's just say this data isn't enough, right? And you just want to, as I mentioned, get a little bit more information. You can actually go to Region View and select Create a Region. And as you can see on the map, Riverside is outlined here in black. I'm just going to go ahead and select this circle and go to the map and draw a radius. And now you can see it's populated all these adjacent geographies. Okay. Just let that load. It takes a little bit. It's a lot of information, so sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get through. Perfect. So now it's included all these geographies, right, that you can get additional information from. Okay. And of course, here's your legend that basically lets you know by color. So you know if it's the dark blue, you're looking at 126 to 415 establishments, right? And you can see, I'm going to move slide. Oops, sorry, I don't want to draw another region, but sorry. Zooming out, zooming out. My apologies. Yes, I know. I don't want that. I'm just going to go back to Riverside. There you go. So just if it starts to get funny on you, just select your geography. It'll take you back. It's pretty easy to work with. Just like I said, every now and then, because of the amount of data, sometimes it can you can see it's still spooling. It can take a little bit for everything to preset. But once it does, you have all the information here. So you can see over here, Los Angeles County. You can select Los Angeles County. It'll take you over. And now you have your data points for that particular geography. Okay. So I'm going to go back to detailed view. I just wanted to show you that quickly. Let this repopulate. No, it takes you back to the county that you selected. So I'm going to go back to select Riverside County, then go back to detailed view. So you can see Riverside County populated. So now that we have that information, I'm just going to quickly show you the custom report. And depending on the level of geography, some of these data points won't populate because one of the questions in the Q&A was about establishments at the block level. The lowest level that we have establishment data is the county for disclosure avoidance and other privacy reasons. So depending on, again, what you're looking at, you will or potentially won't have any data, but you can see here, consumer residents, we have demographic characteristics for our geography, percent male, percent female. We have additional socioeconomic characteristics like median income, average income, housing characteristics. Okay. Here's some employment characteristics, agriculture, construction, manufacturing. We had a few questions in the Q&A on manufacturing. Okay. Here's business summary information. So you can see there's a plethora of information here based on your search. And again, this is really high level. So this can get extremely detailed. We'd love to cover this in more detail for you. So again, our information and contact will be provided after. I do have a few other demos, but unfortunately we don't have time. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll through to the end. This is our resource page here. This is kind of summing up what Mac talked about. This is how you get to our learn additional details about our small businesses, surveys and programs and visualizations. You can see the link here. This will be provided to you, so don't worry about writing it down. But if you want to get to some of the sources that Mac and I discussed, you can get to those here. And some of you in the Q&A asked questions about personal training or curated training. This is a data dissemination and training branch. Our website is up top. You can call us at 1-844-ASK-DATA. Our phone number is there as well. And we have data gems, which are short videos, how-to videos. We also have longer webinars that we conduct on various surveys and other products that we release. And that is it. I'll pass it back to Shruti.
All right, all right. Thank you, Mac and Meredith. Really, really great information. We appreciate that. We're going to open it up for a quick Q&A right now. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat, the Q&A chat. And while those questions are coming in, we're just going to take a few minutes for that. And while those questions are coming in, I'd like you to take a second to post in the chat what you took away from today. If there's anything that you didn't know walking into today, please feel free to share it in the chat. We would love to hear that. And if you have any Q&A, if you have any questions, please write them in the Q&A chat and we'll take a few seconds to answer.
And while we're waiting for those answers, I just want to express how incredible both of those presentations were. I'm just, as somebody who has relied on census data and quoted and all of that, I had no idea how rich those data sets are. And I would have lost a bet on how often the data was cycled. So knowing that economic data is every 5 years, that just tremendous. I'm so blown away and so glad, so appreciative that we've done this.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Director Gray. We do have a quick question. And I'm going to leave this to Mac and Meredith. The question is it possible to access this information on nonprofits? And if so, how?
Mac, you on?
I think you answered that earlier. Meredith.
Yes. So
Okay.
basically via the annual business surveys. So there is a module that does collect data on nonprofits. So you just have to go to the ABS section of our census.gov site and download the applicable data sets.
Awesome. Thank you, Dad. We do have one more question from Paul Porter Brown. His question is, does the census track things like interest and hobbies and personal data sets?
That's a great question. We don't go down into that kind of level, but the American Community Survey is one of the best sources for demographic, social, economic, and housing characteristics. It does cover more than 40 plus topics. So if you just go to our site and go to the American Community Survey, there would be a link there that would bring you to the list of the questions, the type of questions we ask. There would be questions on, even health, education. So that would be the best way for you to utilize that source and to find out about the data that is available. But we do not go into interests and hobbies in terms of personal data. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, and to second what Mac is stating, also a lot of our topics are geographically based. So we have to be able to tie it into a certain level of geography. One, because we are a large statistical agency, but we also have privacy restrictions that we adhere to. So there's a lot of things that have to happen for some of these statistical analyses.
Awesome. So we'll ask one more question for the sake of time. We want to respect everyone's time. It's about 12:29. I believe our stopping point was 12:30. So we'll ask one more question. When there's a question around where can we find education information?
Again, that's a great question. And you can find it in several surveys that we have. I did show you earlier the Census Survey Explorer. If you actually go back to that tool and type in your keyword as education, all of the relevant surveys that's what Meredith is trying to do now, is go to, that's great. Thanks, Meredith. If you type in education, the relevant surveys related to education or your keyword will show up or pop up. So one of the best sources, again, is American Community Survey. We have other surveys, but yes, go ahead, Meredith. If you can do it, it'd be great to show it to them, how to get to that particular survey application.
So these are all the various topics that will cover some aspect of education. American Community Survey is one of our largest, and that can be accessed via one of our most robust data tools, which is called data.census.gov, or DCG for short. And here you can access various data profiles at multiple geographies on the topics of education. So this is where I'd start.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Could we just, I know we are at time, and Isaiah, I know you are doing what you're supposed to do, keeping us on time, but can I take a point of privilege and just ask really quickly? It seems like we've got a couple of folks on here that have asked about specific populations. I know that there was a question earlier about immigrant populations, and I think Esther has popped a chat question in both the chat and the Q&A about narrowing down to specific population types. So if somebody's interested in BIPOC populations, Black, Latino, even Caribbean specific, immigrant types, could you just really quickly show us what would get someone closest to that data?
Sure. And keep in mind, this is a very robust data tool, and I don't want to confuse anybody without, educating you on the tool first. But this is data.census.gov, okay, or DCG. I mentioned it a few minutes ago, but here you can search by topic. So you can see all our topics here: business and economy, education, employment, family and living arrangements, government, health, housing, income and poverty, populations and people. And here's your race and ethnicity. You can select that hyperlink, and here are your various race categories that you can search from.
Okay. Perfect.
Great question. And we'd love to come back and show you DCG, because this has, it's robust. So again, it can be its own training. So let us know and we'll happily come back.
Yes. And outside
of part two.
Yes. And outside, I just wanted to add to Meredith, outside of data.census.gov, we also have some data visualization that came out of the 2020 census. And
Absolutely.
that actually has the detailed in terms of race and ethnicity. And again, we'll be happy to show in the succeeding, hopefully succeeding webinars. Thank you.
Well, I don't know if anybody else can see you guys. I can't see you, but
oh, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you both so much. This has just been a wealth of information. I don't mean to be stepping on your toes, Isaiah. But I just want to get my own thank you out here. Just been an incredible learning experience, and I think for all the data nerds that hung in here with us, quite a few of you guys, almost 100 of you hung in here the entire time. Thank you so much.
And again, thanks for having us. And my apologies that I had to rush through the demo. But it's just so much information. You can stay in here for days. So hopefully we'll get another chance to show you how to further dive into the details on Census Business Builder as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to say thank you. Special thank you to Mac. Special thank you to Meredith. You all did an amazing job today. Chris Chafee from the Office of Community Partnerships and Strategic Communications, thank you for being here. Of course, our dynamic leader, Director Gray, thank you so much for representing all of the 4 million small businesses within California. And everyone, thank you for hanging in there. And a special thank you to Shruti Narain, thank you for putting this together. Really, really well done. And thank you for everyone hanging in there. Again, these slides will be sent out to everyone. Please take some time to take the survey. We want to hear back from you. We want to hear your feedback so we can continue to learn how to grow, support, and scale your businesses the way we can. And so thank you so much for all of your time today. Shruti, did you have anything to say? Did you want to conclude anything?
Thank you. And we'll be adding all this to our YouTube channel and we'll share that.
Awesome.
Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.